Welcome to Life Tales, a channel dedicated to sharing insights on Stoic philosophy, deep life lessons, and personal growth through cultivating virtues in thought, word, and deed. Today, we'll embark on a special journey to explore self-awareness from the Stoic perspective. Have you ever wondered, who am I? How well do I really understand myself? Am I being fair in the way I perceive myself? If these questions have ever crossed your mind, then this video is for you. In modern life, where everyone around us is striving, comparing, and achieving, we often tend to weigh ourselves on the same scale. We begin to assess and judge ourselves based on what others accomplish. But have you ever questioned if these judgments are truly fair? Self-reflection is the first and most important step toward understanding oneself. It involves looking inward, recognizing our strengths and weaknesses, and accepting all facets of who we are. This isn't about seeking perfection but about understanding and staying aligned with oneself in every moment of life. Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, "Ask yourself each day, am I living true to my values? Have I acted with kindness and wisdom?" These questions, though seemingly simple, are the first steps toward a fair and profound self-assessment. However, this journey isn't easy. Have you ever wondered why self-awareness is so challenging? Sometimes, invisible barriers like the fear of getting hurt, ego, or societal norms get in the way. We fear facing our past mistakes or admitting our flaws, which makes us hesitant to engage in honest self-reflection. To perceive ourselves accurately, we need courage. This is the courage to confront both what we like and what we don't like about ourselves. This is why Stoic philosophy emphasizes patience and bravery in self-examination. The Stoic philosophy, founded over 2,000 years ago, offers us a unique lens for self-reflection. Instead of focusing solely on achievements, Stoicism encourages us to ask if we have lived true to our core values and acted with kindness and wisdom. Stoic thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca believe that, when we assess ourselves fairly and without judgment, we achieve a sense of peace and harmony within ourselves. So, how can we perceive ourselves without falling into self-criticism, or, conversely, complacency? The answer lies in learning to analyze and examine ourselves from an objective viewpoint, much like a Stoic teacher would do. To truly view yourself as a Stoic teacher, you might start with a small exercise. Each day, spend a few quiet moments reflecting and ask yourself, did I live up to my values today? Did I act with inner peace? What, if anything, would I adjust? With just a few minutes each day, you can gradually build a habit of fair and profound self-reflection. One of the simplest methods for self-reflection is keeping a journal. Try to maintain a daily self-awareness journal. Each evening, jot down a few lines about what you did that day, what you feel proud of, and areas where you could improve. The journal isn't just a record of successes but also a tool to recognize areas for growth. This helps you maintain fairness toward yourself, neither too harsh nor complacent. How can we perceive ourselves fairly without slipping into excessive self-criticism or complacency? Our lives have two sides, success and failure, good and bad, self-criticism and self-approval. When it comes to self-reflection, we often tend toward one of these extremes. The first extreme is excessive self-criticism. This is when we only see flaws, constantly blame ourselves for everything, and never feel satisfied. This often leads to self-doubt, lack of confidence, and eventually, mental imbalance. On the opposite extreme, there's complacency. This is when we are too lenient with ourselves, always content without any drive for improvement. Complacency can slow us down and dampen our motivation for growth. Stoic philosophy values balance, not extremes. Stoic thinkers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius advised us to see ourselves with fairness, as we would a good friend. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Treat yourself as you would treat others." What does this mean? It means viewing mistakes with compassion, yet continually striving to improve. It's about fair judgment, neither overly harsh nor too lenient. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Ven. Ven was a perfectionist, often overly hard on himself. Every time he failed, he blamed himself and felt inadequate. These negative thoughts led Ven to lose confidence and pass up many opportunities due to fear of failure. But one day, Ven happened upon Stoic philosophy. He began learning to view himself as a teacher would view a student, pointing out areas for improvement yet acknowledging small successes as well. Gradually, Ven found a balance between criticism and self-approval. He stopped blaming himself excessively and made steady progress each day. Now, let's try a simple but effective exercise. Each night before bed, spend a few minutes writing down two things. One thing you feel proud of and one thing you could improve. Just two things. Remember, this isn't about criticizing or boasting. It's about maintaining balance, recognizing your accomplishments while also noting areas for growth. Once you've balanced criticism and self-approval, the next step is to become your own teacher. Imagine yourself as a guide to your own life, a person who listens, understands, and continuously helps you improve. Being your own teacher means taking responsibility for your personal growth. Don't wait for someone else to guide you, nor for the perfect circumstances to arrive. Instead, forge your own path, evaluate yourself, and keep improving. To the Stoic philosophers, becoming one's own teacher is a step toward freedom. When you're not dependent on others' praise or encouragement, you gain freedom in thought and action. This fosters autonomy and sustainable development. One of the most crucial elements in self-guidance is the ability to judge fairly. To do this, you need to listen to yourself sincerely while not hesitating to address areas needing improvement. Epictetus said, "No one can make you angry or sad if you do not allow it." As your own teacher, you learn to view all emotions calmly and without judgment, focusing only on what you can control. A good teacher not only gives answers, but also asks questions that prompt students to think. Similarly, to grow, you need to learn to question yourself. Each day, you can ask, "What could I have done better today?" Or, "What stopped me from reaching my goal?" These questions help you identify weak points and create a plan for improvement. They also deepen your understanding of yourself, rather than just reacting out of habit or others' expectations. Being your own teacher doesn't mean demanding perfection at all times. Some days, you'll make mistakes or feel disappointed in yourself, but what matters is forgiving yourself and trusting the growth process. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that life is a series of challenges for us to build resilience. Forgiving yourself isn't ignoring mistakes but acknowledging that you may stumble, but will always rise and continue forward. Try this exercise. At the end of each week, take time to evaluate yourself. Make a list of things you did well and areas to improve. Ask yourself questions, reflect on what you've learned, and make plans for the following week. You can also take a moment to commend your efforts. Remember, a good teacher doesn't only critique but also encourages and motivates their student to keep going. Finally, to truly become your own teacher, you need to stay committed to yourself. This means persistence, unwavering determination, and the resolve to overcome every challenge, no matter how small. This is one of the virtues Stoic philosophy upholds. Seneca once said, "No one is too young or too old to seek wisdom and improve themselves." Hold firm to the belief that, no matter what, you always have the capacity to change and grow. On the journey to becoming your own teacher, one of the most essential abilities is learning to embrace and learn from mistakes. Mistakes are not something to run from, they are an indispensable part of growth. To Stoic philosophers, mistakes are not failures. Marcus Aurelius once emphasized, "Errors are part of being human. If we acknowledge them, they become our most valuable lessons." Accepting mistakes is the first step to overcoming them. If you fail to recognize them, you may always feel defeated, but if you see them as opportunities to learn, each mistake becomes a step towards self-improvement. A crucial part of learning from mistakes is self-forgiveness. Don't see mistakes as burdens you can't let go of, view them as markers along your learning journey. When you forgive yourself, you open the door to growth and progress. Epictetus said, "People are shaped not by what they experience, but by how they respond to those experiences." Forgiving yourself is the right response to keep moving forward without being weighed down by the past. After accepting mistakes and forgiving yourself, the next step is to analyze and draw lessons from them. Ask yourself, where did this mistake originate? What did I do wrong? And what can I do differently next time? This is how you improve through your failures. Rather than blaming yourself or avoiding them, you'll clearly see the cause and make positive changes. Learning from mistakes also means acknowledging your limitations. No one is perfect, and no one can avoid mistakes. Stoicism reminds us that we are human, and making mistakes is a natural part of life. Accepting your limits allows you to be more compassionate, not only toward yourself but toward others. This nurtures empathy and helps you grow gradually, instead of demanding instant perfection. To truly learn from mistakes, try a simple exercise. Each time you make a mistake, record it in a dedicated journal. Write down what happened, what led to the mistake, and the lesson you can take from it. For example, if you made a promise you couldn't keep, write it down, and think about whether you could manage your time better or be more cautious when making commitments. Each week, review your journal to see how you've progressed. This is how you transform mistakes into opportunities for growth. Finally, the most important thing is not to let mistakes hold you back. Remember, everyone makes mistakes. It's how you face them that matters most. Keep moving forward despite mistakes, because that is the path to growth. Stoic philosophy reminds us that every mistake is a challenge to overcome. Don't see them as barriers but as steps to move forward. In life, we don't always see immediate results. Sometimes, the path of self-development requires patience and confidence in oneself. This is a key part of becoming your own teacher, persevering and trusting the path you've chosen. Perseverance is not just continuing to do something, it's the ability to keep going even in the face of difficulties. To Stoic philosophers, life is not always easy, but it's the challenges, the struggles, that make us stronger. Seneca once said, "It's not because things are difficult that we don't dare. It's because we don't dare that they're difficult." When you persevere, you overcome those difficulties, step by step. Self-confidence is the foundation for walking confidently on your path. When you believe in yourself, you don't need validation from others. You trust that every step, however small, brings you closer to your goal. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you have a great task, do it a little at a time. Don't push yourself to complete everything all at once." Confidence in your journey allows you to keep going, even when you don't see clear results in the short term. Part of perseverance is viewing success and failure with equanimity. When success comes, don't be complacent. When failure happens, don't be discouraged. Stoics believe each experience is part of the journey, and we must keep our minds calm in all circumstances. Epictetus reminded us, "Nothing is good or bad. It's how we react to it that gives it meaning." When you learn to remain calm, you become more steadfast and are not swayed by anything. Perseverance doesn't mean only focusing on the big end goal. To maintain motivation, set short-term goals. Each time you achieve a small goal, you gain the momentum to keep going, and step by step, you approach your long-term objectives. For example, if your ultimate goal is to develop patience, start with small habits like taking deep breaths when feeling stressed. These short-term goals help you move forward steadily. On your journey, you'll face obstacles that may make you want to stop. In those moments, remind yourself why you started. Remember your initial motivation and belief in your goal. One way to keep motivated is by reflecting on what you've achieved. When you see how far you've come, you'll feel driven to continue and overcome any challenges ahead. Perseverance must go hand in hand with maintaining your principles and values. When you live by your principles and values, you have a solid foundation, not easily shaken by the environment around you. The Stoics advise us to uphold our dignity and not compromise on values. This is resilience, and it will help you stay the course, no matter how challenging it gets. Try this exercise to build perseverance and track your progress. First, set clear short-term and long-term goals. Each day, mark what you've accomplished to see your improvement. After a while, reflecting on what you've achieved will inspire you. When you see each step you've taken, you'll feel more motivated and determined to go even further. Finally, always trust that perseverance will lead you to your goal. No matter how long or difficult the journey, each step brings you closer, and even if you stumble or fail, never lose faith in yourself. Stoicism teaches us, do your best and accept what comes. Persevere, trust in your journey, because it's the truest path to becoming who you want to be. In life, certain things are beyond our control. The Stoics realize that to maintain inner peace, we must focus on what we can control, and let go of what we cannot. The Stoics believed life comprises two types of things: those we can control, and those we cannot. Epictetus once said, "Our happiness depends on focusing on what we can control, and not being disturbed by what we cannot." What we can control includes our thoughts, emotions, and actions. Beyond our control are things like other people's opinions, the weather, or politics. Understanding this helps avoid unnecessary worries. Letting go doesn't mean indifference, but an awareness of our limits. When you can't change something, accept it as a natural part of life. This saves energy and allows you to focus on more important things. For example, if you can't change someone else's decision, instead of worrying and being upset, focus on your response. You can't control others, but you can choose your own attitude. Stoicism teaches us that our reaction is the defining factor, not the circumstances. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Your life is shaped by your thoughts. Be careful with them, as they will decide how you feel and act." In difficult situations, if you stay calm and think positively, you'll find the best way forward. Focusing on your reactions makes you stronger and more independent in the ups and downs of life. Positive thinking is a powerful tool for handling what's out of your control. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shifts your focus to what's useful, and frees you from negative emotions. Stoicism doesn't deny negative emotions but guides us to view them accurately. With a positive mindset, you'll find the strength to overcome and find solutions. One way to practice focusing on what we can control is by setting achievable goals. Focus on goals that you can accomplish through your efforts. For instance, instead of aiming for everyone's approval, aim to do your best in your work. By focusing on what you can control, you gain motivation without being affected by external factors. To develop the habit of focusing on what you can control, try this exercise. Each day, write down what worries you. Then, Categorize these things into two groups: those you can control, and those you cannot. For the things you can control, make a plan to address them. For those you cannot, remind yourself they aren't your responsibility, and you needn't worry excessively. Gradually, you'll learn to focus on what truly matters. Once you become accustomed to focusing on what you control, you'll foster a calm attitude toward life's challenges. Stoicism reminds us that inner peace comes from acceptance, not avoidance. Be calm before what you can't control, as it doesn't change who you are. Peace will reward those who understand and apply this principle to their lives. Finally, remember that Stoic control theory only gains value when put into practice. Don't just see this as a philosophy, live it. Apply it daily to become a stronger, more serene version of yourself. When you master yourself and focus on what you control, everything else becomes lighter. Let serenity guide you and stay persistent on your path. Self-reflection is the final but most important step to becoming your own teacher. When you can see yourself clearly, honestly, and deeply, you'll find the truest path for yourself. The Stoics encouraged us to reflect daily. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Every evening, ask yourself what you did well today, what you need to improve on." When you take the time to reflect on yourself, you will gain a better understanding of what you did well, what you need to improve, and learn from each of your actions and thoughts. Self-reflection helps you avoid getting caught up in negative emotions, and helps you learn to face yourself without looking for validation from others. To become a Stoic teacher for yourself, you need to learn to judge yourself fairly, without being too harsh or too complacent. Seneca once advised, "Be as fair to yourself as you are to others." Do not let harshness make you lose confidence, but do not let complacency blind you to areas where you need to improve. When you have a balanced and honest view, you will know your strengths and weaknesses. You will gradually improve yourself without putting too much pressure on yourself, or exaggerating your achievements. The Stoics teach that accepting your limitations is not a failure, but the first step to knowing how to grow. We are not perfect, and that is okay. When you accept your limitations, you will no longer feel disappointed or afraid when faced with things you do not do well. Epictetus once said, "Knowing your limits is the first step to changing them." Only when you accept yourself can you learn to overcome your limits without being pressured by external forces.
The Stoic philosophy is not only an ancient ideology, but also has practical value for modern life. In a world full of pressure and volatility, self-evaluation and self-improvement are necessary to maintain inner stability. Seeing yourself as a Stoic teacher will help you become more self-aware of external factors, understand yourself better, and live a more meaningful life. When you learn to be self-reflective, and focus on what you can control, you will find peace of mind amidst the ups and downs of life. Modern life brings us many opportunities, but also many challenges and temptations. When you remind yourself that you are your own teacher, you will see that every action, every decision has its own value. You will no longer be caught up in comparisons or expectations, but will live with your own meaning and purpose. Stoicism teaches us, live each day as if it were your last. When you live consciously, you will not miss anything, and will find meaning even in the smallest things. Ultimately, when you have learned to see yourself as a Stoic teacher, you will have a solid foundation for all your life journeys. You will face challenges with confidence, and maintain inner peace in the face of difficulties. Always remember, life is a journey of self-discovery and growth. Live with awareness, with perseverance, and with courage. You are your own greatest teacher. Hopefully, through the lessons of Stoic philosophy, you will find your way to becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, nothing beyond your control can affect you, if you stay steadfast in your values and principles. Wishing you peace and strength on your journey.
If you feel inspired by this story, please hit the like button to support us, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below with your thoughts or the Zen stories you want to hear next. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next inspirational and peaceful moments. Your interactions are a source of encouragement for our journey. Thank you for accompanying us on the path of wisdom and enlightenment.